Hello everybody, my name is Rashida. I apologize for not being in the video right now. Um, but I want to be on Facebook. Not Facebook. I want to be on YouTube right now. But I just thought I would share my experience as I have met my twin flame, and I know there's not a lot of information out there, or not a lot of people who are talking in a layman's context, and so I want to share it at the very basic level what it's like and what my experience has been so far, um, to help other people out there who are struggling or want to understand what they're going through better. And for me, right now I'm going through the separation phase. I haven't gone through surrender or reunion yet. But I feel there's still a lot that I can share with people that will help them even at this stage. So a separation phase, or also what people like to call the runner chaser dynamic, um, we're going through it right now, and there are many reasons for why twin flames separate. But I'm just going to focus on the reasons why I felt we separated. And let me assure you, before I even go further, that it's not really a true separation. It's just a physical separation. So it's where you're separated at the physical plane. Um, you may have a temporary separation at the mental, emotional, and astral plane too, etheric plane. Well, no, I think it's just probably the mental and emotional planes that you may have a temporary separation of as well, but ultimately it's really just the physical plane. Everything else returns back to normal. You'll find that you're always connected to them on the other planes, even though you're separated the physical. Like me, I continue to enjoy telepathy with him. I continue to enjoy dreams, very vivid dreams, and out of other psychic experiences with my twin flame, even though we're separated right now. And so, just bear all of this in mind. But to talk more on the whole separation stage, what I feel is going on, which I touched on a lot in my last video, um, is that I feel like the union, when you're united with your twin flame, it can be such an intense experience. You're in this bubble stage, where it's almost like a spiritual wedding or honeymoon. Um, you're in a bubble of unconditional love. You have all these feelings and emotions of love and acceptance and appreciation for each other. There's nothing flawed or imperfect. That's how you feel anyway at that given time. And it's like you're shut off and cocooned off from away from the rest of the world. And all you can see is each other in that given time. And it's a beautiful feeling, very beautiful. It's wonderful. It's awesome. And you know, eventually this becomes overwhelming. It becomes so intense that it becomes overwhelming, and it's hard to sustain that for long periods of time. The other side of it too is when you're with your twin flame, there is no hiding. Everything comes to the surface. Lingering issues you've been working on from prior past lives or this current one, or both. Um, those that comes to the surface. Also, if one of you are feeling down or upset or hurt or sick, or um, angry, depressed, sad, both of you are gonna feel that. It's gonna come to the surface. You're both gonna feel it at an enhanced level, and this can all be overwhelming too, and hard to deal with. Again, for long periods of time. And so I felt this was what was part of what we were. This had, I think, this is what was causing a lot of the problems with us. A lot of the issues that we were still working on as individuals came to the surface for healing, and also it was just so intense, so intense. Um, and even though we were both handling it differently, I think the way we were both handling it showed that weren't we weren't managing it very well, and so the behavior on his part and on my part caused that eventual separation or that rift between the two of us, at least on a physical plane. Just not being able to handle it well, and the intensity of the situation, the intensity of the love, and the intensity of the dark shadow aspects that we were still dealing with on an individual level. And so we started showing negative patterns went a very different way. Like I felt he, in a traditional sense, he's a runner, and I'm the chaser. So for him, he would start to push me away, and I felt this happening for at a very earlier than probably than before it became very obvious. Then I would say I felt this starting to happen much earlier than it became obvious, and um, probably before he even realized he was doing it. I suspect. I would ask him. I would kind of confront him about it gently, and he would deny it. And I felt at the time, at least the first time around, I think he honestly didn't see how he was changing in his behavior towards me. Um, and so he would start to pull away, shut me out. He would have periods where he would just become irritable with me, and sometimes out of nowhere, and I'd be like, what's going on? Why are you so agitated or irritable? And not quite angry, not a temper, but it's just like mini bouts of irritation. And it would just seem like you'd be hot and cold, or so happy one minute and just cold and distant the next minute. And I would blame him, which was wrong. Like this was something that both of us needed to work on, not just one of us. But I would blame him. I would say he's the one that was having the pull and push behavior. He's the one that is being hot and cold. He's the one that, like it was all his fault. But it was very much on my side too. Like my behavior was becoming unhealthy too. Like so when I saw that he was pulling away, I started I wouldn't say I was manipulative. I don't think I'm a manipulative person, but I definitely started to become controlling to an extent. Like I wanted to control the experience, because when you experience something as beautiful as that, you know, it's like, to me, I could probably compare it to, people who are religious in a traditional sense, whether Christians or any other religion, and they talk about meeting God, like being saved, or meeting Jesus, or feeling Jesus come over them for the first time, or experiencing the Holy Spirit, you know, and that was what it was like for me, I think. It's so hard to describe what it was like, but I would think it's kind of similar to that. Or somebody who has a near-death experience and they come back and they're not the same person. And a lot of, like, even when you read near-death experiences or watch people share their near-death experience, a lot of them tell you that they don't want to come back because the sensation of it, the experience that they have, um, while out to the physical realm, it's like it's so beautiful. It's, again, they get that feeling of unconditional love washing over them. And or you look at meditation, people experience nirvana, people experience kundalini, and it's just not the same. They don't. So that is what it was like for me. And it's like when you feel like, especially like me, who I've had such a rough life in some ways, leading up to this. Um, it's like I didn't want to let go of it. I didn't want to let go of this experience, and I didn't realize that that was a very unhealthy pattern on my side. And of course, that sort of behavior would push him away. And so, um, he was pulling away and closing off and shutting me out, becoming distant. And I was becoming controlling, trying to control the situation, trying to find ways to hold on to him, even though I knew that we were about to separate. Um, and so it came to a point where we had a kind of a huge confrontation. I don't think anybody was rude or disrespectful, but as I said, everything's more intense and more enhanced than normal when you're with your twin soul. And so, you know, this definitely was that final nudge that pushed both of us apart, pulled both of us apart. And so here we are. And I think for about the first week, I think I felt like a complete close off from him, even though I knew we were joined on other planes. Certainly the mental and the emotional planes. I would say there was also a kind of a rift there too. But now, where we are at now, I do feel like even though we're physically separated still, I'm connected again on the emotional and mental level with him. And obviously we're always connected on the other levels, the astral, etheric, and so forth. But the telepathy is still very strong. I still have very vivid dreams of him. Um, I can still communicate with him, or pick up on things he's feeling. Um, so just to show you that you're definitely still connected, even though you're not together on the physical plane. So don't underestimate the strength of your twin flame union. Don't underestimate the bonds you have. And just work through this. Be gentle on your twin. Be gentle on yourself. This is a very important time for you to learn how to let go of your ego and let go, because that's why they call the fallen the next stage surrender, right? And I haven't experienced, so I'm not going to talk about it, but all I can say is I do know that we are being called to let go of ego and to love each other unconditionally, but most importantly, love ourselves as individuals unconditionally, because I think that's part of why I think there were still some self-love issues going on both sides. And so how can you show your twin unconditional love if you're still struggling with yourself, um, and so you're being called to like release the ego, see your twin in a very, very loving light no matter what, and learn to love yourself, learn to show yourself love, and accept yourself the way you are now, um, flaws and all, and trust that your twin flame loves you for who you are too, no matter what you feel your flaws to be. Um, I know that, you know, 'cause I was scared at first, 'cause like, how can my twin, how can it feel like he loves me so much on one side, but then he seems so repulsed on me at yet on another time, you know. But it's all natural. You are gonna feel, especially if you still have lingering issues to work on, you're going to feel that constant push and pull. You're going to feel that constant attraction, repel, um, that constant attraction and repelling of your energies, until you work everything that needs to be worked out, until everything that comes to the surface for both of you as individuals while you're in this union are heals. You learn not to run away from it, but to confront it and heal it immediately as it comes to the surface. Um, so yeah, for us, I can say the reason for the separation was it became too intense. Both the positive and the negative of it. It became so intense, that became hard to manage, and we showed that we couldn't manage it with in different ways. And you know, also just the fact that there was no hiding. We're both very private individuals. He more so than me, even, I would say. And um, can you imagine once you meet your twin and you look yourself in a mirror? You're looking at a mirror and everything is exposed. You're vulnerable. You're naked. You're exposed. Everything is at the surface, and so you want to hide from that because it's just so hard to deal with at times, you know, and especially for long periods. So until you get used to this sort of energy, until you can and you know, it's our physical constraints too, you know, having again all this consciousness in the human body on the physical plane, that's a huge limitation too. So it's just for us to be gentle on ourselves, be understanding on ourselves and of our twins, and understand what we're given to work with during this time, and just avoid just cut the ego out, avoid the blame games, avoid pointing the fingers at each other, and know that if your twin flame is working on something, very likely you're working on that thing too, and vice versa. You know, so think about that before you consider judging a person or blaming them or putting them against the wall, putting them in a corner, so to speak. That's all I have to say on that. I hope it can be of help to some people out there. You take care. Have a great day. Bye.